You don't notice it at first. It feels like empathy. It feels like loyalty. It feels like being the strong one. You're the person who checks in when no one else does. The one who remembers emotional details everyone else forgets. The one who senses tension before words are spoken and instinctively moves to soften it. You tell yourself this is just who you are, but there's a quiet exhaustion underneath it. A low-grade tension that never fully leaves your body. A sense that you are always on, even when you're supposed to be resting. Because caring more than you should doesn't feel like generosity. It feels like responsibility. You feel responsible for other people's moods, responsible for keeping relationships alive, responsible for preventing conflict before it happens, responsible for being the emotional glue, the regulator, the stabilizer, the one who holds it all together. And here's the paradox. The very trait that once kept you safe, the very sensitivity that helped you survive, is now the thing slowly draining you. What once protected you is now sabotaging you. You care so deeply that you disappear inside it. You anticipate needs no one asked you to meet. You apologize for things that aren't yours. You over-explain, over-give, over-accommodate, hoping that this time it will finally be enough to secure love without fear. But it never is. Because somewhere along the way, caring stopped being a choice. It became a compulsion. And you may not consciously remember when that happened, but your nervous system does. This video is not about kindness. It's not about empathy. And it's definitely not about telling you to care less. This is about understanding why you learned to care too much, and why healing doesn't mean becoming colder. It means becoming free. At a psychological level, people who care more than they should are often living out the consequences of conditional attachment. This is not a flaw, it's an adaptation. Two core mechanisms usually shape this pattern. The first is parentification, occurs when a child is placed emotionally, or practically, into an adult role too early. They become the listener, the mediator, the emotional caretaker. Their own needs are implicitly deprioritized in favor of maintaining stability in the system. The child learns a dangerous equation. If I take care of others, I am safe. Over time, this creates an identity built around usefulness rather than being. The second mechanism is hypervigilance. Hypervigilance is a nervous system state in which the brain is constantly scanning for emotional shifts, threats, or instability, not because danger is present, but because it once was. Your amygdala, the brain's threat detector, becomes overactive. Your default mode network, responsible for self-referential thinking, loops endlessly around questions like, did I upset them? Did I do enough? Is something wrong? This is not overthinking. This is a nervous system trained to equate connection with survival, and then there's anxious attachment, a relational pattern where closeness feels uncertain, inconsistent, or easily lost. People with this attachment style don't fear abandonment in theory. They fear it soma. Their body believes love can vanish at any moment. So they work tirelessly to prevent it. They give before being asked. They fix before being blamed. They care before anyone proves they deserve it. From the outside, it looks like compassion. From the inside, it feels like pressure, like standing guard over every relationship, afraid that if you relax, everything will collapse. The deepest cost of caring too much is not burnout, it's self-erasure. When you learn that love is conditional, authenticity becomes risky. You don't ask, what do I feel? You ask, what is needed from me? You don't enter rooms as yourself, you enter as a solution, over time. This creates what Carl Jung would call a fractured self, where the persona who you are for others grows powerful, while the authentic core remains underdeveloped and unheard. Jung warned that what is not lived consciously is lived unconsciously as fate, and for people who care too much, the unconscious fate is this: they become indispensable, but not deeply known, loved for their giving, relied on for their stability, chosen for their emotional labor, but rarely chosen for who they are. When they stop performing care, there is a quiet grief in this, not dramatic, not visible. The grief of never fully resting in relationships. The grief of feeling guilty for having needs. The grief of knowing people love the version of you that overextends, and fearing they wouldn't stay if you didn't. This creates a core fear. If I stop caring this much, I will become irrelevant. So even joy becomes complicated. Rest feels irresponsible. Silence feels dangerous. Saying no feels like betrayal. You are never just present. You are managing, monitoring, maintaining. And the tragedy is this: you didn't choose this role. You inherited it. In adulthood, this pattern doesn't disappear. It evolves. You might recognize yourself in some of these manifestations. In relationships, you overfunction. You initiate hard conversations. You repair emotional ruptures you didn't cause. You stay longer than you should because leaving feels cruel. In friendships, you become the emotional container. People vent, unload, rely, but rarely reciprocate at the same depth. You feel invisible, even while being essential. In your career, you take on unpaid emotional labor. You anticipate needs. You smooth conflicts. You say yes when you should negotiate and later resent it. With boundaries, you explain instead of enforce. You justify your limits as if they require permission. You soften no until it becomes negotiable. Internally, you experience chronic guilt even when resting. Your nervous system confuses stillness with danger. You feel valuable only when useful. Emotionally, you struggle to receive care. When someone offers support, you minimize your pain. When someone shows up, you feel undeserving. These are not personality traits. They are coping strategies. And healing does not begin with changing behavior. It begins with witnessing the part of you that learned to survive by caring more than was fair. Witnessing the child who believed love had to be earned through effort. Witnessing the grief of how much responsibility you carried. Quietly, unlearning starts when you stop gaslighting your exhaustion, when you stop calling self-abandonment kindness, when you realize that boundaries are not punishments, they are information. Healing this pattern is not about becoming indifferent, it's about becoming selective. One of the most powerful tools is inner child reparenting, the practice of giving yourself the safety, validation, and permission you once sought through over-caring. You begin to ask, what do I need right now? Am I giving from abundance or fear? If I say no, what am I actually afraid will happen? This is where shadow work becomes essential. You meet the parts of yourself that were taught. Rest is lazy. Needs are dangerous. Care equals worth. And you gently, repeatedly, challenge those beliefs with lived experience. You learn that people who truly care do not leave when you stop overfunctioning. You learn that your value does not collapse when you stop rescuing. You learn that love rooted in presence is far safer than love rooted in performance. Philosopher Erich Fromm wrote, "Love is not an act of giving in the sense of a sacrifice, but an expression of being." And that is the final truth. You were never meant to earn love through exhaustion. You were never meant to disappear to keep others comfortable. You were never meant to carry what was never yours to hold. Healing does not make you colder, it makes you whole. And when you finally care from choice instead of compulsion, when you give without losing yourself, you don't become less loving, you become free. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who gives too much and rests too little. And if you want more work like this, exploring the unseen patterns that shape who we become, subscribe. Not to fix yourself, but to finally come home to yourself.